Yeah, but they're having like a book housing for the later this year.
Nice. Oh yeah, she told me that. That's good. That's good. Okay, so some of you already did this, so we're not going to go through reading it. We're going to have something else we're going to do in a little bit. I have to change my glasses. In Luke, Luke 12, Jesus told several parables. So what was the parable in verses 16 to 21? So the parable of the rich fool who built bigger and bigger and bigger barns and tore down the other barns and didn't realize that he had no thought for his soul. He was completely consumed with earthly things and not at all interested in spiritual things. And that can be eternally problematic. And it was for him. And then verses 37 to 40. Yeah, so the servants are waiting for the master to come home, and what do the servants do? Some of them do, right? Fall asleep, and they miss out, and so be alert, stay alert, spiritually speaking, and be watching, and I would say not just be watching and waiting for the coming of Christ, but be watching and waiting where He's working. Just now, right? I mean, this was a fabulous novel. That young man, he's like a little kid to me, but man, there was so much wisdom in that, and just a beautiful word picture of there's a seat for you at table. There's a seat, and that's just beautiful. And so see where God is working. See where God is working in your life, where God is working in other people's lives. Don't fall asleep on Him, because that's when our faith goes astray, when we fall asleep on what God is trying to do in our lives. And then the one in 42 to 48. That one. Yes. What's a steward?
What do you mean?
What is it? It says the parable of the stewards. What is a steward?
Isn't it like somebody who is in charge of something?
Yeah, but generally it's someone who is in charge of another's resources. So the steward is given a task from his boss or his master or whatever, and he is usually like I'll tell you what a steward would be. Someone who helps, if your parents have someone who helps manage their money, that person is a steward of their money. And the steward is to take care of whatever it is that belongs to their master as if it were their own. And some stewards, like, bit up off the top, that's a poor steward. A steward is supposed to honor the person that they're a steward for with their resources and treat them as their own. And so the parable of the stewards, the faithful steward is rewarded and the unfaithful are punished. So I think what Jesus is getting at in that parable is that God has given each of us resources, and they don't belong to us. They belong to God. God's given each of you gifts, things that you can do because God has allowed you to do that. I started teaching probably in high school. I was teaching VBS, and I've never stopped. I don't know. I don't even want to know how many years that is. And it is all I ever wanted to do. It's all I ever wanted to be. But am I stewarding the gift of teaching in a way that because it is His gift that He gave me. And it's almost like when God gives you a gift to steward, and you, it would be like if your grandmother, gave you something for Christmas, and you looked at it and you went, "Oh, thanks, Grandma, that's great," and just put it in the trash can. Right in front. Now don't do that to your grandma, because grandma's kind of, things like that. But and make sure you wear it to her house the next time. But God gives us these gifts, and He intends us to use them, and He intends us to use them for His glory. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to become a pastor to do that. That doesn't mean that you have to teach in a Christian school to do that. My husband is a manager at a hobby town shop. That's it. And he every day is a blessing to the people he serves. And he sees it that way. He sees his service for God. Yes. Well, he's usually at the one in La Vista. Tall, skinny guy, dark hair, kind of get this all happening. But he's sometimes out.
Manager of what? Sorry, I was listening.
Hobbytown. It's like if you're a radio control person, or radio like car radio control. What?
RC airplanes.
Yeah, RC airplanes too. But he does it as unto the Lord. Anything that you do as unto the Lord, anything you do by the power of God for the glory of God, is giving God glory, and you're being a good steward. Now, there's some things that you can't do for the glory of God, and those are the things we shouldn't be doing. But those things that God gives us to do for His glory, that's being a steward of what He's given, of His resources. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's so meaningful. Okay, open your Bibles to Luke 13. And then somebody willing to read verses 10 through 21. Yes.
Now he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman who had had a disabling spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not fully straighten herself. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said to her, "Woman, you are freed from your disability." And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight, and she glorified God. But the ruler of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, said to the people, "There are 6 days in which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day." Then the Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Do not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to water it? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, who sat and bowed for 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day?" As he said these things, all his adversaries were put to shame, and all the people rejoiced at all the glorious things that were done by him.
Excellent. So yeah, he healed a woman who had been crippled for 18 years, and he did so on the Sabbath. And as you already know very well, that ticked off the Jewish leadership. And then, well, yeah, that's good enough. So just by way of clarification, the girls are going to go first to and it's in Mr. Lambert's room. And so, what? Yeah. I know. That's what I heard over and over and over again. And then this morning it became somebody got their wires crossed. But that's okay.
Oh, everyone on YouTube.
It's all good.